Afternoon, teacher. My name is Liliana Peña. My course is Third I, The Giver. Chapter 1. It was almost December and Jonas was beginning to be frightened. No wrong word Jonas thought brighter meant that deep, sky feel of something terrible about to happen. Frightened was the way he had felt a year ago, when an univarific aircraft had overflowed the community twice. He had seen in both times squinting toward the sky. He had seen the sleek jet almost a blur at its high speed go past, and a second later hear the blast of sound that followed. Then one more time a moment later from the opposite direction that same plane. At first he had been only satisfied he had never seen aircraft so close, for it was against the rules for pilots to fly over the community. Occasionally, when supplies were delivered by cargo planes to the lighting fields across the river, the children rode their bicycles to the river banks and watched, in Trident, the unlading and then the takeoff direct to the west, always away the community. But the aircraft a year ago had been different. It was not a squad fat-believed cargo plane but a neatly nosed single-pilot jet. Jonas, looking around auxiliaries, had seen others, adults as well as children, stop that way their doing and quite confused for an explanation of the frightened event. Then of the citizens had been ordered to go into the nearest building and say there immediately. The rasping voice through the speaker had said, "Leaving your bicycle where they are." Instantly, obediently, Jonas had dropped his bike on its side on the path behind his family dwelling. He had run indoors and stayed there alone. His parents were both at work, and his little sister Lily was at the childcare center where she spent her after school hours. Looking through the front window, he had seen two people, known the busy afternoon crew of street cleaners, livestock workers, and food delivery people who usually populate the community at that time of day. He saw only the abandoned bikes here and there on their sides, and opportunity, while in one was still revolving slowly. He had been frightened them. The sense of his own community silent waiting had made his stomach crunch. He had trembled, but it had been nothing. Within minutes, the speaker had crackled again, and the voices, resumed now and less urgent, had explained that pilot in training had misread his navigational instructions and made a wrong turn. Desperately, the pilot had been trying to make his way back before his error was noticed. Needless to say, he will be realized, the voice had said, followed by silence. There was an iron to find mentioned, as if a speaker found it moused, and Jonas had smiled a little. For a chronic citizen to be released from the community was a final decision, a terrible punishment, an overwhelming statement of failure. Even the children were scolded if they used the term lightly at play. During a team who missed at Coach Stamper arrived. Now thinks about the feeling of fear as he pedaled home along the river path. He remembered that moment of palpable smoking, singing terror when the aircraft had shrinked above. It was not what he was feeling now with December appropriating. He searches for the right word to describe his own feeling. Jonas was careful about language, not like his friend Asher, who talked too fast and mixed things up, scrambling words and phrases until they were barely recognizable and often very funny. Jonas grinned, remembering the morning that Asher had dashed into the classroom late as usual, arriving brazenly in the middle of the chanting of the morning anthem when the class took their seats. At the conclusion of the patriotic hymn, Asher remained standing to make his public apology as was required. I apologize for inconveniencing my learning community. Asher Strang wrote the standard apology phrase rapidly, still catching his breath. The instructor and class waited patiently for his explanation. The students had all been grinning because they had listened to Asher's explanation so many times before. I left home at the correct but when I was writing. Along near the hatchery, the crew was separating some salmon. I accept your apology, Asher, the instructor said. He was smiling. And I thank you because once again you have provided an opportunity for a lesson in language. Viewing, he turned and wrote this route on the right instructional board. Beside it, he wrote distracted. Jonas nearing his home. He turned and wrote this round on the institutional board. Beside it is wrote distracted. Jonas nearing his home now smiled at the recollections, thinking still as they wheeled his bike into its narrow port beside the door. Thinking still as he wheeled his bike into its narrow port beside the door, he realized that Friday was the wrong word to describe his feelings now. That December was almost here, it was too strong an adjective. He had waited a long time for this special December. Now that it was almost upon him. He was frightened, but he was eager. He decided. He was eager for it to come, and he was excited, certain of the event, were excited about the event that would be coming so soon. But there was a little shudder of nervousness when he thought about it, about what might happen. Sometimes Jonas and his sister Lily argued over terms over who would get to go first. Their parents, of course, were part of the ritual. They too told their feeling each evening, but like a parents, all adults, they didn't fight angrily for their turn. Nor did Jonas, turning his feelings were too complicated. This evening he wanted to share them, but he wasn't able to begin the process sifting through his own complicated emotion, even with the help that he knew his parents could give. You go, Lily, he said, seeing his sister, who was much younger, only as if willing with impatience in her chair. I left very angry this afternoon, Lily announced. My childcare groups, what was at the play area, and we had a visiting group of siblings. Keep going right to the front of the line for the slide, even though the rest of us were all white if I felt angry at him. Why do you think the musicians didn't obey the rules? Mom asked. Lily considered and shook her head. I don't know. They acted like animals. Jonah suggested he laughed. That's right, Lily said. Low high too, like animals. Native cheers knew what the word meant exactly, but it was often used to describe some uneducated or inclusive someone who didn't fit in. Jonas smiled, but at his sister Lily's feelings were always stronger, a fire simple, usually easier to resolve. He guessed that his own he had been too, when was a 7. Jonas and Lily both noted sympathetically as well. Release of new children was always sad because they hadn't had a chance to enjoy life with him the community yet, and they had done anything wrong. There were only 2 occasions of release which were not punished. This was especially troubling for the Nurets-like father who, well, that had failed somehow, but happened very rarely. Well, Fidel said, I'm going to keep trying. I may ask the community for permission to bring him here at night. If you don't mind, you know what the Nike new cherries are like. Think the little guys need some extra. Next mother, who held a prominent position at the Department of Justice, talked about her feelings today. A report offer had been brought before her, someone who had broken the rules before, someone who she hoped had been adequately and fairly punished, and who had been restored to his place, to his job, his home, his family unit. To him he brought before her a second time because her overwhelming feelings of frustration and anger. Lily stood up and went to her mother. She stroked her mother's arm from his place at table. Reached over and took her hands. Jonas reached for the other. The ritual continued. Jonas, father asked, you are last tonight. Jonas thinking this evening he most would have preferred to keep his feelings hidden. Lily looked up, her eyes wide. The ceremony of 12, she whispered in a wave voices. Even the small is children's, Lily's age and younger. Now that is lie in the future for each them. I'm glad you told us of your feelings, father says. Lily, mother says, becoming to little girl, go on now, get into your knuckles, father and I are going to stay here and talk to Jonas for a while. Lily sings, but obediently. She got down from her chair. Privately, she asked. Mother nodded yes. She said, this talk will be a private one with Jonas. Thank you, teacher.